Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the May edition of the Small Business Strategy and Development Committee with the Mesa Chamber of Commerce. I am the Director of Communications for the Mesa Chamber, Bob Nelson, and we are here today with a fantastic group of presenters that are going to talk to us about special event permitting in the city of Mesa. So, joining us today is Nicole Goltz. Tiffany, I'm going to give this a shot, and I seriously apologize ahead of time if I am not able to get all of it in there. Uh, Krahenbel,
Nailed it.
oh, thank you, and Aaron Garcia are joining us from the city of Mesa. So I'll let each of them introduce themselves. But before we do that, Jesse, if you want to introduce yourself, who you are, which company you're with.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Jesse Shank. I'm with Brick Road Community Corporation. We have two cafes. One is in Tempe, Brick Road Coffee, and in Mesa on Gilbert Road, just near Southern. Was Empower Coffee Roasters, now Brick Road Coffee Mesa is how we refer to it. And we have Prism Coffee Lab is our B2B roastery that's attached to that cafe. So we acquired Empower Coffee Roasters in April of 24 and reopened under the expanded facility in 25 of June. So almost a year now. Um,
And
and
I will
yeah,
say
here
I
to
have been to
Yay.
both of those coffee houses, and I love them each equally.
uh,
So,
thank you.
I'll have to check it
Equally,
out.
I have a favorite, Bob. I won't tell
well,
you which one it
come on now, you have a favorite, right? Because you born one. I
is.
get it.
Nice. But yeah, coming up on a year, starting to think about we do some special events on private property in Tempe. We've been doing those for 4 years now, and yeah, maybe Mesa. See what happens.
So with that, Nicole, I'll turn it over to you guys and let you introduce yourselves and then kind of jump right in.
All right. So, like you said, I am Nicole Goltz. I work here in the special events office. Um, our team here is within Mesa Parks and Recreation, which is people are like kind of thinking that's interesting at times, just because it does have some overlap. But our team is kind of split kind of in two. So my part of the team makes up right now is me. I just promoted into a coordinator role. So we will be hiring another person to take my previous role. And then we also have Chacha in our office, who's our program assistant. We oversee special event licensing on our side. So that's meeting with all the event organizers, making sure city departments and things are all invited, and kind of helping, business owners, event organizers kind of get their special events off the ground and licensed properly and making sure they're all safe and all of that. But I will throw it over to Aaron to introduce himself.
Yeah, so my name's Aaron Garcia. I oversee the city produce side of the team. Excuse me. So my team, we're the ones who are putting on city events. Some notable ones would be Celebrate Mesa, Arizona Celebration of Freedom, and Merry Main Street. Um, and then Nicole's team helps us make sure that we follow all the rules and are following the same licensing procedures that all the private events follow. So it's myself, and then I have right now I have two full time staff, and then I myself have a vacancy on my team that we are also hiring for at the time, and then we have about 11 part timers that help us. With various things in the special events world, whether it be our own events or being our eyes and ears at those private events that are out there in the community.
And then I am Tiffany Cranbiel, Recreation Supervisor over special events. Both of my team explained it very well, so there's really no need for me to go into much more detail. Again, city supported, city sponsored, and the licensing portion. And just to add to Aaron's comment of having staff that go out there and be eyes and ears, as much as we would like to have staff that are available to go to all the events. We would love to. Unfortunately, budget wise, we're only able to send those to a select few. But again, they are out there just to help the community with those events. So, Bob, I'll turn it back over to you.
So let's kind of start with just some quick Q&As and Nicole, Tiffany, or any one of you that feels most connected to the question are absolutely welcome to jump in. How many private events does the city of Mesa manage or approve on a typical calendar year?
So as far as licenses go, we hover anywhere between 200 and 250 probably for the year. And that's just ones that obviously reach out to us and, go through the permitting process. So we know that there are plenty more that are happening throughout our large city, but those are the ones that we definitely see come through our office.
And so when you think about, okay, where do I start? I'm planning an event. I'm thinking about doing something in the community or what have you. Even if for whatever reason that event may not need to reach out to the city, can they? Can they come to you and say, "Hey, we'd love some of your expertise or your guidance or even just your experience to kind of make sure that, we're doing things the best way we can?"
Yeah, so we definitely have, some basic criteria of events that should reach out to us. That way, we can talk to them further, kind of find out what they are planning on doing. We can help guide them as to whether they maybe need the license, maybe they don't. And we know sometimes even if they don't need us, maybe it's an indoor event that wouldn't need a special event license typically, but they want to have alcohol at their event, we can definitely make sure that you are talking to the correct departments within the city to make sure that you're getting everything that you need. And then also for anybody that maybe does need the license, we do take the time to meet with you ahead of doing the application. Make sure to include any of our city departments like Mesa PD or Mesa Fire or transportation, things like that, and they will take a look at the event as a whole and provide recommendations and ensure you're hosting a safe event and that you can get through the process as smooth as possible.
So let's kind of start at the beginning. What type of an event would need to reach out to the city for licensing?
So as far as kind of that basic criteria, if you're hosting something um, outdoors or outside of your business, that's going to be kind of the first thing you want to look at. We don't provide any licenses for indoor events. Um, Again, they may end up needing something like a liquor license or something like that. That does come with some events. But typically, if it's indoors, our team's kind of out of it. But if you have an outdoor event, if you have like you're closing any streets, if you're impacting like a parking lot, that's a lot of the things we do see is maybe like a market or like a grand opening or something like that that's happening outside of a business, and they are using the parking lot. We we don't want to prevent you from doing the event, but we want to make sure that obviously you are planning it so that it's safe. So we always say when in doubt, just reach out to us. We have a link to a form to request a meeting with us where we will contact you, kind of ask you basic questions, look at the scope of your event, how it might impact the city or surrounding businesses, neighborhoods, and then we can guide you from there.
So how much of a lead time typically should an event give you so that that process can be followed?
So for our licensing process, most events are going to be like a 30-day minimum for the application to be submitted through our online system. We recommend that you are reaching out to us way before that, at least 90 days. That way, you have time to get in contact with us. We have time to coordinate that meeting and get all the necessary departments there to get you that feedback. And you give yourself time to apply. And if anything needs to be adjusted or changed, it gives you time as the event organizer to make that change and get your license in time. Um, 90 days kind of covers it from a perspective like if you have liquor or you have maybe even fireworks or you're closing streets or anything like that that can come up that the planning is going to take a little bit longer, that gives you the leeway. We also don't accept applications more than a year out. So we get, the whole spectrum of people that are coming to us right at the end, or we have our, our super planners who are on top of it and they're talking to us early because they want to make sure everything's in order. So we're happy to help wherever we can in that process.
So did you have kind of a presentation that you wanted to roll us through? Just so I'll let you take over and just kind of roll
Yeah,
through that.
and that'll answer some of the questions in there for sure. So let me figure out Zoom here. Usually we're teams over here, so all right, we have this one to share, and then we will go into present mode, and hopefully that is showing. Okay, cool. All right, so obviously this is kind of the presentation we have. We do offer workshops, maybe one a year or so, where we kind of invite business owners, event organizers, anybody who's just looking for general information. This is kind of the slideshow we go through with them. So I'll kind of skip through. We already did introductions. This one shows where we are located in case you come down here for a meeting with us. Um, our basic contact information here, you can call us or email us. Like I mentioned, Chacha's on my team. She's usually the gal you're gonna get into contact with first, and she's great. She will get you scheduled if needed. She'll get you all the information on the front end. But I'll make sure if anybody needs that, we can connect and get this to them. I believe we already kind of spoke about what the special event is. The one thing I will mention is that for the special events, per our city code, which is in like planning and zoning, you're allowed up to 4 special events at a particular address each calendar year. And I know that's kind of a lot to wrap your head around. So, say you have, I don't know, a market and you have found a great plaza that you are looking to host, your market once a month. You're allowed to host in that same location up to 4 times. There is the option to host more than that, but you will need additional licensing through planning and zoning. And I have some further slides that will kind of help guide that. They have that in the code. I think basically because if you're having the same event maybe every day, not saying, I mean, that's obviously a little bit of a over exaggeration, but the surrounding businesses may not be so happy that the owner of that plaza has now allowed that parking lot to be used that many times. So they kind of have to balance that in there. And that's, I think, why planning and zoning does have that option for the extra licensing so that you can get more event days on a calendar. Um, let's see. Some of the definitions that we might come across later in the presentation are kind of here on the front end. This kind of lays out more of a definition of what a special event is. So it's an intermittent event, no more than 4 days per calendar year, held on public or private property. And that is another kind of misconception. Some people are like, well, this is private property. You can't tell me I need to get a license or anything like that. So it does cover private property as well. Um, and really, the biggest thing to look out is if you're using that space and it's inconsistent with the regular zoning. So, like, that's especially true of like our parking lot events. Parking lots are used for parking. So, when we're changing the use of that to make it now an event space, we want you to go through that licensing process, not to be mean, but to make sure that, you're planning a safe event for everybody that's going to be in attendance. Temporary use permit, again, that's one of those permits that planning and zoning offers to allow for additional events at a certain location. Special use permit is again one of those ones for additional event days. Based obviously on the zoning of a particular location, that kind of guides you as to whether you need a temporary use permit or a special use permit. So planning would be able to provide further details after connecting with them.
Right. Can I interject with a question or two? Is
Sure.
that okay?
Yeah, of course.
So if we have a shopping plaza with
Mhm.
multiple businesses in it,
Yep.
is that a single location? And I guess if the Vitalent does a blood drive in the parking lot with like one canopy, they get a permit, and that wipes out my opportunity to have a market with 20 vendors because it's the fourth time, or is it per suite? Is it different events actually reset that? Like it's not the same event four times, it's four different events. How do those
So,
things all work together?
yeah. So truly it is per, and I want to say they use the word premise. So even if there are suites, they're counting that as the same, any suite. So if it's the same plaza, you all have the same address, they're calling that a premise. So yes, it does need to get balanced between anybody within your plaza. Um, so that is why, as part of the licensing process, we do require an event organizer to get written approval to be able to host the event in there. In that space. And typically we will be able to guide you, like if, you know, your neighbor reached out and did two events earlier in the year, and now you're reaching out at the same address. Planning and zoning in our office to an extent keeps track. So we're able to tell you when you reach out to us, like, hey, I'm looking to do this monthly event. Okay, well, so and so suite, whatever in your plaza has already used up two. So at that point, you kind of know and can plan for how you want to proceed. Um, and again, we've had it before where certain events will go to planning. We've had it where the property owner finds it beneficial for themselves to go get like a temporary use permit, if especially if it's a plaza that does a lot of events. Um, so it's definitely something that you want to be cognizant of your neighbors and what's going on with them, and then also with the actual property management company for your plaza. Does that, I know that's not great.
No, well, it answers the question. I'll leave the questions about how to change the ordinance to another call.
Okay. Okay.
Right? No, that's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And yeah, definitely if you have any questions as we're going, feel free to stop me. That's totally
Yeah, see,
great.
that would be the Government Affairs Committee that meets on
I'll
the
call
third
Eric.
Friday each month.
Yeah,
That's
that's great.
that's
And
the
I don't
land
do
of planning
four,
and
so that's fine.
zoning.
Yeah. Oh,
I
it
will
makes
say you're
sense.
not
I
the
get
only
the
person
reasons.
who has asked that question and would love for a change.
I just would hate to see neighbors getting into disputes over who gets to benefit. I mean, we're all in business to make money and do things, and kind of pitch you against the people in your plaza a little bit, and also probably incentivizes people not to get a permit or a license for smaller things. So I mean, just food for thought, but it doesn't matter. We'll go talk to the policy and government committee, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the answers though.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let's see. Dimes Acela, that is Dimes is the and I'm sure as a business owner you've probably had to use that for different permits you've needed, like fire safety, things like that. Um, so that's the system that you would do the application through to submit for the license. A park permit or agreement, those are through the Mesa Parks and Recreation Department, because that is technically where we're through. So we handle events that are obviously just, in maybe a plaza or a private business, but we obviously also oversee special events in our parks too. So it may or may not pertain, but we do cover that as well. Traffic control plan, that would be if if you're closing down a street or maybe even some parking spaces like on, the shoulder of the road or something like that. That is the plan that outlines what that closure looks like. The TTC is the permit that corresponds with that. It's a temporary traffic control permit, which basically gives you that allowance to close the street or restrict certain right of ways. Um, and a right of way is like a roadway, sidewalk, parking lot, things like that. This is an example of what a traffic control plan will look like. Again, this is a simple one, I think, for one of our events out at Riverview, but it obviously shows this road is closed up here. And then kind of interesting, kind of Jesse, from what you were talking about, there is an area in Mesa where it's called the Downtown Events Overlay, and it's more towards our downtown area where they're allowed to host as many special events in a calendar year as they want. They still would need to do a temporary use permit or special use permit if they're looking to host like a very long event where it's, more than 4 days in a row. But they can host as many or pull as many special event licenses in a calendar year as they want. There isn't that um, limitation. This right now is the only area of Mesa that planning and zoning has allowed for this. I don't know in the future if that's ever going to change for any other part of Mesa. So let's see, when do I need a special event license? Again, we kind of touched on this. If you're outdoors, if it's a temporary type event, if you're on public or private property, reach out to us. We will guide you. I will say, if you're in the residential, you're good. If it's a wedding, funeral, things like that, we're not getting involved in those. So if you're hosting, like Bob's book festival, we want to be involved with that one because, you're on the street. But garage sale, don't worry about contacting us. But when in doubt, always reach out to us. We're always here to help. A park agreement, again, since we are in Parks and Rec, we do cover this. If you were looking to host an event within one of our City of Mesa parks, we do kind of have a contract in place with those event organizers. If they're hosting, any one of these, like a sporting event, parade, circus fair, carnival, things like that, there are fees associated, obviously, with hosting within one of our city parks. So you again would reach out to us, and I oversee right now park agreements and events looking to host anything in our City of Mesa Park. So that would be us that you would still reach out to for any information on that. So kind of summarizing that, special event license is needed when you're changing the use of a pre-approved zoning. So again, parking lot type events, those are really a lot of what we end up seeing. Impacting the right of way, closing streets, sidewalks, parking lots, those are going to be the big ones. Park agreement, again, is if you're only hosting in a City of Mesa Park. So if you're not looking to do that, don't worry about this piece. You may need both if, you're hosting in a park and you have alcohol, or you're taking over the use of the whole park, something like that. You may need both the special event license and the park agreement. And then we list out obviously some examples of the type of events. And then this is kind of this is our workflow for how the process actually works. We've talked to you initially, you've submitted your form, we reviewed it. We're like, yep, you're most likely going to need a meeting with us. So this is an example of what the form looks like. This helps obviously get basic information from you, your name, address, where you're looking to host, some basic event details, things like that. Once we receive this, we know to reach out to you, tell you, yay, you need one and you need to get on our calendar to talk about your event, or nope, you're good, you're in the residential. Go ahead and host your garage sale or whatever you're hosting. Once we get that pre-application consult meeting on the books, again, the recommended time frame is 60 to 90 days ahead of the event. During that, we will discuss the event, let you know any type of licensing that you'll need. So obviously, you may be hosting in the parking lot, but you also want a beer garden. So we'll make sure that you are following processes with Mesa Tax and Licensing to meet their deadlines and their requirements as well. And then after that, we also give you the link to Dimes to go ahead, submit that application, and we make sure to let you know which attachments and what items we're going to need uploaded with that so that you have a really complete and nice application so that it makes it as smooth as possible. As a special note, if you're hosting something in that downtown events overlay, so more towards downtown Mesa, we do also work with the Downtown Mesa Association. And we do also check in with them and have you get approval. The biggest place down there is obviously on McDonald between Main and Pepper. We have that bollard system there, and we look to them to give approval to use that space, basically making sure it's not conflicting with anything else down there. So the next step after the meeting is submitting your application. Again, applications should be submitted a minimum of 30 days. We want you guys to do that a little earlier than that. Give everybody some time, especially during the busy seasons. We are processing many at once. So giving yourself time to get through it is great. We can't stress that enough. Again, we are here to help with applications. Sometimes the DIME system can be a little finicky. So myself or Chacha here, we can schedule a meeting. We can talk to you on the phone. You can come down here. Many different options for us to help you with this. Again, deadlines. Here, 90 days for a street closure, 60 days if you're looking to get a liquor license or extending your liquor license from the property, and 30 days for standard events. As far as application fees go, it's $100 a day, maximum of $300 total. So when applying, obviously you may have a multi-day market or something that you're applying for. You can submit at the same time. It's going to be $100 per day. Say it's a 4-day event. The most we're going to charge you is $300. So we'll give you that $100 discount for a 4-day event. We do also have, if you know you're going to you're going to host your event 4 times in the year, go ahead and submit those all at the same time. We will give you a 50% discount on those fees. And then obviously, depending on different event elements, if you need a traffic control plan, liquor license, things like that, there are additional fees with some of those permitting items. Once you've done the work and you got the application into us, that starts an administrative review. So that basically means myself or Chacha will be looking at that application. We have 10 days to look at it. Obviously, if it's a situation where we're at the 30 days, we're jumping on this as soon as possible. So that way, if we see like, hey, maybe you're missing your site plan or you're missing a document that needed to be up there, we'll send you a notice. Hey, we're missing this. Get that to us as soon as possible. We'll get it uploaded, or you can upload it on your end. That way we can keep this process rolling. If you've submitted an application and it looks complete by all means to us, we will then push that application out to our city department review, or our substantive review is the fancy name for it. And this is where city departments will then take a look at the application. These are the departments listed here that are pretty much reviewing most all the applications. Transportation obviously is looking for street closures, impacts to right of way, things like that. Police is looking at security. Fire prevention, depending how big the event is, they may need to do like a pre-event fire inspection to make sure everything is up to code. Fire medical will look to see kind of what your plan is in case of emergency on site. They may require like EMS team to be out there. License enforcement's going to look at all your vendors, make sure that they have all their proper licensing through City of Mesa and the state. Planning and zoning is going to look at obviously what the property is zoned as, parking plans, things like that. Collections is going to make sure you're not owing any money to the city. And risk management is looking at your liability insurance coverages. Once we've made it all through our department reviews, that would be when it gets kicked back to our office. And then we are then able to issue a final license. Per a state statute, we can't issue the license earlier than 20 days. However, we can obviously keep you updated and let you know, like, all right, once 20 days hits, you'll have that in your inbox. And obviously, you're able to track progress of your application through the DIME system, or definitely give us a call, shoot us an email. We're happy to fill you in about where the status is, what departments still need to take a look, things like that. As far as event preparation and execution, I think Tiff kind of talked about this, and Aaron, we do have some of our part-time staff available to go to different events just to kind of take a look at the event, be eyes and ears. At this point, just with different restrictions, we haven't necessarily had the ability to send out to many of like the private rentals, more so our park rentals, but that's not to say we won't grow eventually and be able to attend everything. Fire inspection, sometimes those are necessary, especially if you're hosting like a carnival or let's see, what's another one, like haunted houses. A lot of times we have those, or really large festivals that have a lot of moving pieces. Code compliance would only really be necessary if, things are going awry from what you submitted to the city. License enforcement, again, they're making sure that vendors have all their proper licensing. So their transaction privilege tax through the state, mobile food vendors like food trucks, making sure that they have their proper licensing through the city. And then as far as repeat violations, I think we have that on there because we have in the past had, some people that don't like to necessarily follow rules. So we do kind of keep track of that as well and how that could affect future licensing. Post-event evaluation. Usually if, you have one of the city departments on site, they're able to report back to us if something happened on site. Obviously, if we send our staff out to something, they're able to share feedback from maybe what happened at the event. And then we're able to meet with or at least pass the information along to the event organizer. That way it's something they can be cognizant of for any future events that they host within the city. On here we have some helpful links. A lot of it, or most all of the information that I've talked about today, we do have a handbook, which kind of we go off of. It's a great resource if you needed to look anything up or refer to. Link to that pre-application consult request that gives us the information to get a meeting scheduled. A special event calendar. So this one is one that the city has that will put any of our city events that are upcoming on it. And then special event license information. This is just our standard website. I think this is in here. Let's see. If you were looking to ever do an event that included liquor, it's an additional license that goes through the Mesa Tax and Licensing Office and the state liquor licensing. So they're the major experts on that. We know just enough to pass along to customers, but anything beyond that, we're definitely sending you over to the experts. They want at least 90 days, again, because it's not just a city approval, but it's a state liquor approval as well. So once the city review is done, you're taking that to the state for the final approval, and both sides have obviously processing deadlines to meet. So that's the big thing that they stress. And then these are the typical things that types of permits associated with special events. So temporary extension of premise, we do see these with some of the local bars that maybe are doing like a St. Patty's Day party where they need more room for their beer garden that, goes out into the parking lot or something like that. So they're already licensed for their establishment, but they're looking to expand that. Series 15, that one we see like, for an example, like we have a beer festival that takes place out at Riverview every year. That allows them to host that within our park. And then the Series 16, I believe is mostly just for distilleries and things like that to have their permit to be able to attend some of these types of events and provide liquor. And then these are obviously some great liquor licensing resources, as well as like contact information for the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control. And then that was the end of my information. Jesse, or Bob, did you have any questions on that before I turn it over to Aaron to kind of talk about our city events?
Nothing from me, Nicole. It's all pretty straightforward. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the major reasons that we invited Nicole and Tiffany and Aaron to be here is just because they're very interested in helping, not not if but how. It's very much a how can we get this done for you kind of attitude, and I think that's an important. It's just important because we want to do things in the city and we want to celebrate a lot of things. And both, from the chamber experience and obviously experience outside of the chamber, I can tell you that the whole team works very hard on the how to get things done, way farther than if. So,
Yes.
yeah.
We want your end result to be as safe and fun as possible. So I know a lot of people hear, oh, license, oh my gosh, it's more paperwork and things like that. But ultimately, we want you to host your events in Mesa. We want events in Mesa. We just also want to make sure it's safe and that, we have provided as much help to you guys as we can.
So I had also when I first approached Nicole on this, I had kind of said, "Hey, so in addition to how people can host their own events, let's talk a little bit about the city's run events and how businesses in Mesa can engage in those and be a part of those." So I think that's Aaron's realm or Tiffany's realm. I'll let me know whose that is and give them a chance to talk for a little bit.
Yeah, that falls to me. And if Tiff wants to speak, she can, or provide any additional information. But any special events that are produced within the city will typically fall to myself and my team. So the ones that we have listed here are some of our more larger events. So you have Celebrate Mesa, which showcases the city departments to the communities, and it allows other city departments outside of our parks department to showcase what it is they actually do on a day-to-day basis to the community. So that way those folks in the community can see what some of the things that maybe transportation is doing, or um, that the library is offering, or our rec centers are offering. And then on top of that, we also have live entertainment, food trucks, different activities throughout that event. Arizona Celebration of Freedom, which is our next biggest event that is rapidly approaching, is our July 4th event. And this event is again one of our larger events, and we see upwards of 10 to 15,000 folks attending this event. And we have again live entertainment, we have a car show, military zone, of course fireworks. This year we're adding in a drone show. Excuse me. And then the last one on the list, Merry Main Street. That event runs for roughly 40 days. We kick off right the day right after Thanksgiving, where we have our tree lighting ceremony right there on McDonald Street, in between Main and Pepper. And then as well as just a block east of that, we have our ice rink that runs daily throughout the season, except for Christmas Day. So some ways that small businesses and other folks can get involved in with these events is sponsorship opportunities. We work with a third party sponsorship entity that helps procure sponsors for our events, and there's different packages and different levels of sponsorships. Some things that come with the sponsor level, depending on the level of sponsor, will be just marketing materials. So the logo on any of our marketing materials, logo on our website, as well as there's opportunities to become a title sponsor for the event as well. So your name would be, for example, we just had a Celebrate Mesa a month ago, and Google Fiber was that sponsor or that title sponsor. So it was Google Fiber presents Celebrate Mesa. And then for Arizona Celebration of Freedom coming up in July, Will Mang is our title sponsor. So Will Mang presents Arizona Celebration of Freedom. So you have that your logo on the face of the event essentially. So the biggest way that we tell folks, our companies or businesses, that they can be involved with our events is through sponsorships. And if that's something you're interested in, I can get you connected with our person. Her name is Tammy Adelman. She like I said, she helps us procure those sponsors, and she can go into more detail on the types of packages for sponsorship packages that we have for these specific events.
So talk a little bit, Aaron, if you will, talk because you mentioned the food vending opportunity. So talk a little bit about that in relation to some of Mesa's restaurant small businesses.
Yeah, so we've not had experience working with any small businesses coming out to be a food vendor, but we do take excuse me, for our events we do give the opportunity to have food vendors there. So for Celebrate Mesa, I'll fall back to that one because, like I said, that one just happened. We had about 13 food vendors out there, and for that event, we saw a little over 9,000 attendees. And so with that, we procure some food vendors. We make sure that they have all of their proper licensing, like Nicole just went over, and we and if they don't, we say, hey, this is what you're needing to have in order to vend at our event. Um, and we do our best to try to mix it up. So if we have a Mexican truck that is serving tacos and mostly Mexican food, we try to get a good variety out there. And we would definitely be open to working with any small local businesses that have those pop-up tents or trucks, to come out and be a food vendor at our events. One local business that I know that we've worked with in the past is Marco's Pizza. They've set up, they've had like their tent and they would sell pizzas at the event. And again, we follow the same process of making sure that they have their TPT and all the mobile food vendor and all those proper licensing, and we work closely with our licensing department and say, hey, we have this vendor, and they'll let us know, yep, they're good to go, or oh, they're missing this, and we do our best to push them into that direction to get those proper licenses so that they can vend within Mesa and have the opportunity to not just vend at our events, but any events that might come in, that Nicole works with, those private events, and the city does their best to keep a running list of food vendors that are fully licensed to vend within Mesa at special events.
Cool. Aaron, thank you so much. Tiffany, I know you've kind of been here and you've kind of been sort of hanging out. Did you I want to give you the floor a little bit.
So first, I'd like to say great job to my team, Aaron and Nicole, for presenting that information. That's fantastic. One of the things I would like to echo from what Nicole had said is, listen, we want to be here. We want these events to happen in Mesa. Like she said, our goal is to help these organizers not only get to, but through that finish line. And that our team is here, not to help, not to hinder the process, but truly to help these individuals, these event organizers get there and add to the community. I mean, it's a great thing for the community to have these events out there. And like Nicole had said, one of those major concerns is safety. We bring out our PD, we've got our transportation, we've got our fire, and there's other departments in these meetings, these consult meetings with the event organizers, there to answer any and all of your questions. I mean, it's a great opportunity for those one-on-one, just to ask basic questions, and sometimes these event organizers don't realize, hey, I'm putting a cone out. That's a barricade. Well, that's not going to stop a car, but we have, our individuals there to help explain it in greater detail. So again, just want to say thank you to my team for presenting that. And hopefully we can get some more individuals out there that go through this process and understand why we're here to help educate the event organizers on why it's important to go through this process.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. That is awesome. I will open it up to the floor, aka Jesse, to see if Jesse's got any additional questions.
I don't think so, Bob, but I guess I'll add on that I have gone through very similar processes in other cities, and I do get a lot of value out of it. And I do appreciate the city staff that spends the time. The reviews from fire and safety, police, everybody does do a good job. And so I'll echo that that it is not a cumbersome process. The Mesa process doesn't sound cumbersome. And I appreciate the effort that goes in.
So we'll follow up with everybody in regards to the resources that Nicole is showing here in the presentation. And then also, maybe we'll do a follow up with them later in the year as we get a little bit closer to the super busy season, as a way to kind of check in and see how things are going, and maybe let them tout a few of the events that they are running or partnering with around the city. So thank you all, Nicole, Tiffany, Aaron, for joining us today. Fantastic presentation. I think this is, as a recorded video, going to be a great resource for people to access to learn more about how to get their events started and approved in Mesa. Would anybody like to kind of cap us off with anything? On that note, no. Okay. I will very quickly, Jesse, this is mostly for you are the member in the audience. So I'm going to very quickly run through the rest of the meeting agenda because you're it.
Yay, Jesse.
I'm glad I did.
We did not have any board members present, so there are no board member updates for this meeting. I have plenty of chamber updates to give you, but I don't want to necessarily keep you. So I will refer you to the chamber calendar to get the most recent information. We do have a number of other committee meetings coming up. It is the beginning of the month, so we have all the other committee meetings in front of us, including the Community Action Project, which is going to be over at the studios here in Mesa, and they're going to talk about supply chain constraints. So if you get a chance to be in that room, any of you, definitely it's a great opportunity for you to hear from some business leaders in regards to how some of these issues are impacting supply chain locally. So, and that's it. Jesse, let's give you a second. What do you got going on at the old coffee house?
This will be our first full summer, so we're getting ready for that. We do have a special event space indoors that we try and host a lot of community events, and that's starting to heat up. I got some author talks actually coming up as well. Yeah, I know. Yeah, see, this is where you now promote.
You piqued his interest.
We're going to talk, I see.
And hoping to screen some documentaries in June through Pride Month, And yeah, we'll just keep taking the requests from the community as they want to use the space.
So, just so you guys know, Jesse's Mesa location is located behind the Popeyes, southeast corner of Gilbert and Southern, south of Audio Express. So, if you're just kind of follow that plaza south, you'll run into him there, right down there. So,
You did that better than I ever would be able to.
I've been there a few times,
I was
so
like, he's got that down.
it's
And he was
a
speaking
great
my language with
right
landmarks like behind the Popeyes. I'm
behind
like,
the Popeyes. There you go. It's easy to remember. So thank you all for joining us today. I appreciate everybody's time. I hope that we were able to share some valuable information. I hope that we're able to add more special events to our calendar and celebrate more things in Mesa. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am at B Nelson at mesachamber.org, or you are welcome to visit us online at mesachamber.org. And Nicole, you want to give us that website again one more time if you know it off the top of your head?
well, it's not like an easy one. You go on
It is.
mesaparks.com
There it
and
is.
select special events. And then there's the further links for our handbook and the one that's
Cool.
on tax and licensing.
So mesaparks.com is a great place to start.
Yes.
All right, very good. Thank you guys.
Sorry, my brain stopped working for a
No,
second.
it's all good. We're done, right? Like I'm done here. I'm checked out. Thank you all for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day. You guys take care.
Thank you,
Thanks,
you too.
Bob.
Bye.
Bye.